محمد
اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد
والصلاة والسلام على أهل بيته الطيبين الطاهرين المعصومين المظلومين ولعنة الله على أعدائهم أجمعين. اللهم كن لوليك الحجة ابن الحسن صلواتك عليه وعلى آبائه في هذه الساعة وفي كل ساعة وليا وحافظا وقائدا وناصرا ودليلا وعينا حتى تسكنه أرضك طوعا وتمتعه فيها طويلا برحمتك يا أرحم الراحمين. اللهم
صل على محمد وآل محمد.
Amma ba'd, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. All praise and glory belongs to Allah, the creator of this universe, the one who gave us an opportunity to submit to Him for a specific time period, and that whatever we do in this world, He has made as an obligation on Him to give us a reward that is everlasting. So when you think about that you're working for something for a specific amount of time, but the reward that you're getting is forever, in your own mind it doesn't kind of sink in. Right? Okay, if I worked 8 hours in a day, then I should get reward for working 8 hours. If I work for 8 hours and I get rewarded for working for eternity, it doesn't fit in, right? The math is wrong, yes. So when it comes to the reward of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and that it is everlasting, and that after this world there is another world, and in there is an everlasting life in which whatever you are going to do here, you're going to receive over there. Dunya mazra'atul akhirah, that this world is the farm for the hereafter. So in Christianity as well, you say whatever you sow, you reap, or something like that. Right? And this is a same. All right. So whatever you're going to implant, that's what you're going to get. So if you put in the seeds for oranges, don't expect apples. Right? You're going to end up getting what? Oranges. So if you planted 10 trees of oranges, don't expect 1,000. Right? When it comes to that, I mean, if you planted 10 and you're expecting 1,000, it's like the math doesn't go. Because 10 means either 10 or less than 10. Because not every seed is going to germinate or is not going to go through its cycle. So when it comes to the hereafter and this world, our minds, they have a certain part of intellect that they can comprehend, but then afterwards it's just, this is our fate. Okay? We say this is our iman, and that's it. Whatever way it's going to be over there, we'll see it. Okay? However, it will be, जब आएगी तो देखी जाएगी, right? वहाँ पहुँचेंगे तो देख लेंगे. When we get there, we'll see it. Right? But in reality, the way Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has made us, if the math doesn't work, and if it does not make sense for us, and our intellect does not get to a specific point, and our heart does not accept, we are not that much motivated to do that particular thing. Okay? So in order for us to get motivated properly and for us to be able to benefit for the time being that we are here, we need to resolve certain things, and to resolve those things, inshallah, we'll try our very best today and tomorrow if we can, about the relationship that this world and the hereafter has. The hereafter is actually a universe, and this world is a universe. The actions that you perform in a limited environment, how could they have an everlasting effect in an everlasting universe? Right? So there are many different things that we're going to talk about. And then another thing also is that if you think about your day of 24 hours, how much time do you spend for working for the hereafter? Muslim. "24 hours, आपके पास 24 घंटे हैं, तो इन 24 घंटों में आपने आखिरत के लिए क्या काम किए? For example, what work did you do for the hereafter?" If somebody was to ask you today, right, in the 24 hours that you spend, what did you do for the hereafter? Most likely you will say, okay, all right, let's say 2 hours. 2 hours is actually too much, but let's say 2 hours. Okay, so the 22 hours, what were you doing 22 hours? I was either working for this world, or I was seeking the pleasures of this world, or I was breathing, or I was talking, or I was doing all that is to do with this world. Right? The 2 hours I spent for the hereafter. Now in my mind, I know that it is going to be an everlasting place. I know that this world is a limited time, it's going to finish. Over there is for eternity. And something which is forever, I should work for that rather than working for something that is going to finish. Yet something which is going to finish, I worked for that for 22 hours. But what was going to last forever, I only worked for it for 2 hours. So obviously with that math, what is more important to me? With that math, what is more important to me is this world, not the hereafter. Because whatever is more important to me, I know in my mind, and anyone else with a common sense will work for that thing. If something is not important to you, why do you work for it? If you are working for something, that means it's important to you. And if this world becomes important for us, then this world is going to be high in our eyes, in our motives, in our iradas, in our intentions. And guess what? Then the life of the hereafter is going to become secondary. Okay? So, there's a verse of the Quran, you've already read it, بَلْ تُؤْثِرُونَ الْحَيَاةَ الدُّنْيَا. What you guys have done is put tarjih, you have put more importance to the life of this world. Putting more importance to the life of this world is not something of a problem of today's time. This has existed since human beings have been on this earth. Right? Every prophet of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala had to deal with that. Every prophet of Allah had to deal with the fact that these people had put the world as primary and the hereafter as secondary. And that is also if they believed. Most of the time that the Prophet spent in was trying to make them understand that there is a life after this world. That you just don't die and just become, dust, but there is another life after this world. So even if to the point where if somebody did accept that there is a hereafter, their importance to this world and their life was so much that every prophet had to tell the individuals that you should do something for your hereafter. بَلْ تُؤْثِرُونَ الْحَيَاةَ الدُّنْيَا وَالْآخِرَةُ خَيْرٌ وَأَبْقَى. That actually the hereafter is going to stay there forever. It's not going to finish. So the way your mind works, what you should do is, do not prefer the life of this world, prefer the world of the hereafter, where you're going to stay there forever. We can't, like to us is like, for example, somebody is praying, that is for the hereafter. Right? So therefore, if somebody is praying, that is for the hereafter. If I recite the Quran, that is for the hereafter. If I did what else? Read some du'as, that's for the hereafter. So therefore, in 24 hours, how much time did I spend for the hereafter? 2 hours. Right? So with that sort of math, you're never going to, it's never going to be okay. It's never, because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is saying, okay, I've given you this carbon-based body, you need to feed it, you need to put fuel in it, you need to shelter it. In order to shelter it, you need to get like a $300,000-$400,000 house. In order to get a $300,000-$400,000 house, you need to get at like $2,000 to $3,000 a month mortgage. You have to pay to get $2,000 to $3,000 of mortgage to pay. You need to get $4,000 to $5,000 to $6,000 every month as your expenses to pay the mortgage and the rest of the groceries and so forth. So I mean, in order to get that $5,000 a month, you need to work 40 hours. Okay. So if I work 40 hours and I'm working 8 to 10 hours a day for this world, and then I also have to sleep 8 to 10 hours at night, so when am I going to work for the hereafter? And if you say, no, don't have a house, don't have this, don't have this, don't have that, don't have a wife, don't have kids, then okay, then fine. Then that's fine. I don't have to make $5,000 a year. I can live on some whatever, from the earth or whatever it is. I don't need a shelter. I can live under a tree camp or whatever. And then 24/7 I have opportunity to work for the what? Hereafter. But then Islam says that's not right. It's haram to be a rahib. It's prohibited for you to become a monk. That's what monks are. Although today's modern monks are a little bit different, but so now either to be a monk or to be a professional. If you be a monk, you can work for the hereafter. You have time. If you be a professional, you cannot work for the hereafter. So these are things that are going to be in the minds of everybody, right? So we'll try to sort them out slowly. Okay. And if you look at our own lives as well, most of our life has been spent, I don't know how many years a person ends up spending in school. Let's say 8 years plus high school plus university. How many years? Just out of curiosity.
20 years.
20 years? 20 years. Okay, so 20 years you're in school and you're studying and you're gaining knowledge. But this knowledge for what? Right. You study 20, yeah, right, but for now, I know it depends, but in general public, with the minds that we were, only maybe a year ago, 4 years ago, 5 years ago, we started to get to know about this. But when we went to elementary school, how many of us were thinking about anything else but math? How did math have anything to do with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? Did it do? Math had something to do with like a stick. If I didn't do my homework, I'm going to get hit. That's what I used to think about. I used to think about it as a burden. Right? So elementary school you go through that, high school you go through that, university. When you get to university, you start thinking maybe a little bit, okay, chemistry, the laws of physics, the laws of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and so forth. But that is also for very minute amount of people. Most of the people are, okay, I'm going to get this degree, I'm going to become this, I'm going to apply for this job, I'm going to do this, I'm going to become a doctor, I'm going to be like this, like this. Where is God in those thoughts? If you say you had God in your thoughts, barakallah, but all of it to do was, I get a degree, I get a status, I'll be recognized by the MIT or by Oxford or by whatever. And then कि भाई आपकी शादी हो जाएगी. अब शादी करनी भी कौन सी आसान है? कोई आसान है? शादी करनी, to get married is not easy. You need thousands of dollars. Right? You need thousands of dollars to get married. I mean, spending 10, 15, 20,000 is very easy. I mean, that's just on jewelry. Then the clothes, and then, the hall, the food and everything, and you end up spending like, $40,000, $50,000. Right? The ones that are, this is also like munasib type, maybe you can do a little bit 50% off savings type of. If you do it there. Yeah, if you do it here or whatever the case is, but still that's an average marriage that happens, right? And then the ones who are doing more, obviously they're going to spend, $100,000, $200,000, $1 million, $2 million. But to save $40,000, how long do you have to work? To save $40,000, how long do you have to work? I mean, how long is it going to for you to take to save $40,000? It's not easy to get married. And then you have your kids. Each child's education, by the time that these children that we have now that grow up, when they want to go to university, I mean, look at the expense. So what are you going to do? If you cannot obviously become a monk, you cannot, right? I mean, there's more loans, there's more debt, there's more credit line, there's all of that. Then what? In the back of your mind, all of this pressure is for what? It's for this world. And then these kids, when they are in university and then they are going to graduate, they're going to want to get married. And you as parents would have to have enough money for their marriages. And before you know it, the person is like 70 years old, 60 years old, 70 years old. And what's going on? Oh, I'm going to die.
Now I need to remember Allah.
Now I need to remember Allah. Now I need to go for Hajj. Now I need to pray Quran. Now I need to do my namaz. Because deen, religion, has become the task of retired people. Akhirat has become the task of retired people. It's not for employed people. Employed people cannot work for the hereafter. The employed people can only work for the dunya, for this world. The retired people, because they are retired from this world, they can now work for the hereafter. And with this sort of thought process, we've been grown up. And to us, religion means just that. So the rest of your life, you can be, whatever way you want to live, whatever way you want to do, whether you want to pray namaz or not, whether you want to have hijab or not, whether you want to go for hajj or not, whether you want to pay khums or not, whether you want to have any of the tenets of religion in your life, doesn't matter, because what supersedes is that $5,000 a month that has to come. That is the most important part of your life. And even religion takes the shadow of that importance. I will be able to go to the center on the weekend. Religion's scheduling has to be done around the scheduling of your $5,000 a month paycheck. Imam Masumin al-Muslim's viladats cannot be celebrated on the days that they were born, but they're going to be celebrated on the weekend because you do not have time to pay homage and respect to your Imam on the day he was born. Because that $5,000 paycheck supersedes everything else. And it does. And maybe it should. Right? Maybe it should, because you're telling us on one side you cannot be a monk, and on the other side you're saying that being a professional is no good. And what am I to do? What is this religion of yours? Right? So this is the thought process that we've been grown up with. That is what is called a secular thought process. For religion and life It's two separate things. Secular way of living is just that. Secular way of living, what takes precedent is your life that brings about the $5,000 a month, and what is secondary is your religion, and your religion is only there to support your $5,000 a month paycheck. In a secular way of life, religion is like, going to the gym. You go to the gym, you work out, you feel good. You freshen up so that you can, what? Work harder. Right? I don't know. Because then you get fresh. So you come to the center, you get fresh. Some of you, most of you get more tired, that's why you don't come, because you have to listen to somebody like me. But you pray namaz, you feel like you did something, you feel contented, you feel fresh, you feel like everything is okay. So that you can go to work next day better. And therefore, in a secular system, you're allowed to have centers. Therefore, in a secular system, you're allowed to have mosques. Therefore, in a secular system, you're allowed to practice your religion because it is good for the corporate culture and the corporate environment and the corporate everything that is related to corporate and capitalist. It's good for you. Okay? Because it will make you a fresher person. So, if this is the thought process that we have, and then we have the hereafter, and we have this dunya, and then we have a hisab kitab, we have a day of judgment, and then we have whatever we're going to do here, we're going to be receiving over there, and we have this sort of secular system that we live in, all of this built in, what it does is brings about a lot of the confusion, and then the person decides that, okay, you know what, let's just go and first take care of the $5,000 a month, then we'll worry about it. If we get to be old enough, we'll worry about the religious part of it later on. And this is the condition of you at the moment. It's not the condition of mine. Because you look at me, it's like, Maulana तो हर चीज़ करते हैं, आखिरत के लिए करते हैं भाई, दुनिया के तो होते नहीं हैं. तो मौलाना का मतलब है कि सारा कुछ आखिरत के लिए. Maulana means everything for the hereafter, nothing for the dunya. If anything Maulana does for the dunya, is like, oh, this Maulana दुनिया परस्त हो गए हैं. गाड़ी अच्छी रख ली, ये हो गया, वो हो गया. It's like this person has gone away from religion and he is gone into the worldly life. Yeah, so either you become a monk like Maulana or you become a professional. And nowadays, some of them have kind of mixed the two together, They're professionals because they charge you $1,500 an hour. Right? That's what professionals do. They charge you $1,500 an hour or that too is, I don't know how many professionals that can actually do that. Lawyers probably charge you $500 or $400, but $1,500 an hour. So they charge you $1,500 an hour, and they don't call themselves as professional. They are very righteous and pious. They have a topi on their head. They will sit down on the mimbar and tell you about religion and Imam Hussain. They tell you about Imam Hussain and about the enemies. They'll tell you about do not have the love of this world inside of your heart. They will tell you that Imam Hussain ﷺ, he was classified as a baghi, as a person who rebelled against the state, by a person who was a religious scholar, who was the qazi of the time, who was the judge of the time, and he was given 100,000 dinars, and for that he gave the fatwa for the They will tell you that. They will not call themselves as professionals. They will call themselves as righteous and pious as alims. So is that the balance? You know, these things we need to think about. सुबह से शाम हो जाती है, हम चीज़ों के बारे में सोचते नहीं हैं. हमारी हो सकता है जिंदगियां गुजर गई, हमने कभी नहीं सोचा. Our lives have been spent and we haven't thought of this. In our minds, we are in istirab, we are in suffering because we are doing something on daily basis against our ideology and Islam. जब आप दिन में काम कर रहे हैं और आप कहते हैं कि नहीं मुझे पता है, I know that I should be working for the hereafter, but I'm working for this life, what do you think is going to come inside of your mind? क्या आएगा इंसान के दिन के अंदर, क्या आएगा उसके नफ्स के अंदर, क्या ख्याल आएगा? मैं अच्छा काम कर रहा हूँ? Am I doing something good? Guilt आएगी ना. Basically we will feel guilty, and the more we feel guilty every day, what happens? The more depressed we get. When we see that the things that we spent our money on, the reason why we lived our lives, it's nowhere. If a person loses their wealth, what happens? उनको heart attack हो जाता है. Many people, they lose their business, they get a heart attack. Why? Because to them that was the only thing that they accomplished. This was their achievement. This was who they are. And if that thing is not there, it means that they are finished. It's the end of them. Right? इसका हमें solution चाहिए. और the reason why I got this preliminary to go so long is because this is something that we need to come to this conclusion that there has to be an answer that can have the proper match, that can make us more motivated, that can get rid of the guilt that we feel, that can get the secular system way of life that we have been living for forever, that it gives us an alternative. So once it gives us an alternative, we can live according to that life, and our lives can become pleasant. It can become with contentment. It can become with peace of mind. It can have love of husband and wife, brother and sister, the parents and the children, the in-laws. ये इस्लाम कर सकता है कि in-laws के दरमियान में आपकी प्यार मोहब्बत बढ़ा सकता है. जी, Islam has that solution to get rid of that bridge or that barrier that people put with the relations of in-laws. Right? You can have this sort of life where everything makes sense, everything is giving you peace of mind, and you have love all around you, and you do not have guilty feeling by living and working in this world, but you will have a guilty feeling if you did not do something. Right? You will have a guilty feeling if you disobeyed Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Other than that, working in this world, you will not feel guilty. There should be something like that. That is actually why religion was brought. That is why the religion was brought. The religion was brought not so that you can have a center, so you can have a masjid, so you can have Maulanas come and sit down on the mimbar and speak to you. Religion was not so that you feel guilty the whole time you are living in this world. Religion was brought down so that humanity can have peace of mind and live with harmony and with love and all the desires that a human being has that supersede the desires of this lowly body of yours. To belong, to love. This is what religion came for. But what you see is that today religion is being used for everything that religion was brought here for, against it. Religion has become a source of disunity. Religion has become a source for innocent killing. Religion has become a source for, more pain and suffering in the world, religion has become something that human beings are now starting to call as poison. The religion is the reason for all of the ills of human beings. Whereas religion was brought down for the cure of the ills of all of the human beings. Why have we reached this stage? हमें जगह पे क्यों पहुंच गए कि why do we have these individuals so-called calling themselves as Muslims, reading Quran, and these takfiris that you have over there, and killing the innocent in the brutality that even an animal will have mercy killing an animal. Why these people who are supposed to be religious beings or people of religion are committing these atrocities in the world? Like a baby. What does a baby has? No religion, no culture, no ethnicity would say a baby is guilty. A baby is innocent. Then somebody who says Allahu Akbar takes the knife and kills the neck, hits the neck of that baby and cuts it. How is God great here? How is God Akbar here? That action of yours has defamed Mazallah God, has brought God down. That action has not made God great. It has brought God down. These are the actions of the people so-called wanting to put the laws of Islam in this world. So how is a person who lives in a secular life going to say, no, religion is good for me? You see where we have reached? And humanity does not have time. Time is finishing. Imam of the time is coming. We need to sort out our minds. At least sort out our minds. I know our lives maybe will not get sorted, but at least have the right path. Have the Sirat al-Mustaqim. At least have that in your mind. At least we can do that. And then Imam comes and then it will be implemented. Okay. So all of this was for us to realize the magnanimity of this issue, the gravity of this issue, the importance of this issue, how much it is in our lives, and we do not want for it to be in our lives. Islam, one way, just somebody does dua and goes for Hajj and goes, does all of this prayers and everything, is a good Muslim. We have to find out what is the mi'ar, what is the measuring scale of a good Muslim. A person who breaks their promises, regardless of they go for Hajj, they do their namaz, they do all of this, that person is no good. We've been told that do not look at the salah of somebody, do not look at the psalm of somebody, the fasting of somebody, do not look at the hajj of somebody. If you want to find out if that person is good or not, see how good they are in keeping their promise. So does this mean that we stop praying and just keeping our promises? No. There are so many things that we need to clarify. Inshallah, if Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gives us the opportunity, we're going to keep this in our minds, and tomorrow we'll try to sort out and start giving you some of the answers, and we'll try to keep this topic or this way of thinking as long as we can for the remainder of the time that we have. Please do pray for me and ask that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala forgive me and give me the opportunity to submit to our Imam as it is his right to submit. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim wal-Asr. إن الإنسان لفي خسر إلا الذين آمنوا وعملوا الصالحات وتواصوا بالحق وتواصوا بالصبر. اللهم صل على محمد وعلى محمد.
How are you?